Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Robert Allen, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Mark Pickering. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private James McCrae Hancock. James Hancock was born on the 31st of May 1891 in Bendigo, Victoria, the son of Reverend William Hancock and his wife Elizabeth. James had at least one brother and received his education at Melbourne's Scotch College and Trinity Grammar School in Kew. He served 2 years in the cadets during his schooling, after which he began to work as a solicitor and barrister with Blake and Rigall lawyers in Melbourne. James Hancock enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 5th of July 1915 in Melbourne. He was assigned to the reinforcements of the 23rd Battalion and embarked from Melbourne on board the troopship Hororata in September that year. Private Hancock arrived in Egypt in January 1916 and joined comrades in the 23rd Battalion. Having missed the campaign at Gallipoli, Hancock spent 2 months in Egypt training and sightseeing. In a letter written to his father, Private Hancock described Cairo, saying, "Cairo is a rum sort of place, and it didn't take long for the novelty to wear off as far as I was concerned. There are a few decent streets with fine buildings, but the rest of the place is rather squalid and dirty with narrow winding streets. You needn't worry about me at all, for I am in the very pink of condition and getting along first rate." In March, he arrived in France to join his unit on the Western Front. Hancock was initially sent to an area around Armentières, known as the nursery sector, where soldiers learnt the rigours of trench warfare. The quiet period was short-lived, however, as the 23rd moved to the lines around the French village of Pozières, where Hancock would take part in his first and last major action of war. The German forces had a distinct advantage around Pozières, holding the high ground which enabled them to launch devastating attacks on the advancing troops. The weight of artillery fire concentrated on the Pozières section raised villagers to the ground, made capturing the strategic village a treacherous task. The offensive took place over 42 days, where Australians made as many as 19 separate attacks against the German positions. Australian divisions succeeded in capturing Pozières on the 5th August, but it was not without tremendous cost. By the end of it all, Allied casualties totalled a staggering 23,000 men who were captured, wounded and killed. It is estimated the 23rd Battalion lost almost 90% of its original fighting strength during the offensive in this region. Among those casualties was Private James McCrae Hancock. Hancock's comrades could shed little light on his face to Red Cross inquirers. All that could be determined was that he was killed in action during the advance on the 4th of August 1916. He was last seen lying dead in the German trenches. Unable to move him or retrieve his body, Hancock was left where he fell and his body was not recovered. Today, James McCrae Hancock is commemorated at the Australian Memorial at Villers Breton, among more than 10,000 other Australians with no known grave. His name is listed in the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 who have died while serving in the World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private James McCrae Hancock, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.